This episode is brought to you by Ritual. Hi there. My name is Katya, and I, like all human beings, poop. Now, let's be honest, folks. Don't you feel a whole lot better if you poop on a regular basis? With Symbiotic Plus from Ritual, you can finally throw away the stress of finding a bathroom at the Hollywood Bowl when that lunch taco finally hits, and find the inner peace you've always been searching for by pooping predictably. What is Symbiotic Plus? Well, let me tell you about this little object of pure magic that will make your BMs fantastic. It's a 3-in-1 clinically studied pre, pro, and postbiotic containing strains LGG and BB12 that supports healthy regularity. This daily 3-in-1 prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic features 2 of the world's most clinically studied probiotic strains to support gut and digestive health. It's designed with a delayed release capsule to help reach the colon, not the stomach, an ideal place for probiotics to survive and grow. All it takes is one daily mint-scented capsule for simple, streamlined gut support. Plus, it's vegan-friendly and formulated without GMOs, major allergens, animal products, shady fillers, and artificial colors. Be like me and poop on the regular before leaving the house to conquer the world gas-free. Climb back on that porcelain throne and make me proud, people. Feel the difference daily with Ritual Symbiotic Plus. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/bald. That's 25% off at ritual.com/bald. Happy squatting. Hi, divas. As you know, Trixie is on break, so I'm solo here on the podcast to tell you that we are bringing you more Bald and the Beautiful live shows this fall. That's right, we're going to be in Baltimore, Providence, Columbus, and a whole bunch of other East Coast cities that I don't have on the script in front of me. But all tickets and info will be at trixieandkatyalive.com, so get your panties in check for the best damn podcast you've ever seen.
I need like the little earbuds. I do it with the earbuds these days because they updo. What? It's been a while. You forgot how to process all this.
Oh, this is going to be obnoxious. Okay. Welcome back to the Bald and Beautiful. We have a special guest today, Jinkx Monsoon.
Thank you.
You look like a slut.
I dressed extra slutty for you.
You look like a whore.
I've been compiling outfits. I look like a whore? I thought I looked kind of like
you look beautiful.
Like a slutty version of a matron, you know, like.
No. You look like a young,
we're looking in the
slutty
monitors.
Whore.
Wonderful.
Look at those legs.
Gosh, and my skirt's riding up on this velvet. Give me a second. I picked this out for you because I really thought this was an outfit you'd respond to.
I'm responding extremely. I mean, yes.
I don't often wear separates. Since I started wearing dresses, that's like all I want to wear. Anyway.
Dude,
no, dresses.
Oh, dresses.
Yeah.
Sheer stockings.
Right. I only get about 2, maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks of sheer stockings before the hair grows back in and I have to switch to opaque.
I was going to say they're not a run in those stockings.
Well, I opened them today for this.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the fresh pair of stockings. Now, what is it about sheer stockings that gets men so riled up, do you think?
It's because you can see the leg, but there's still a barrier. There's something to take off. Okay. There's like, it's like the art of the tease.
Yeah.
Right? And then especially if you're wearing a thigh high. Oh, and then you got tattoos on.
Oh my God.
Every time,
cheap.
I catch a guy looking at... Sorry.
For the listeners who are driving in their cars, Jinkx is literally doing a hoochie coochie show right now. It's rated R.
Well, I'm just so comfortable with it.
Oh, I love that necklace too.
Thank you. I got this in a beach town from some lady's shop, and
you know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of Sansa Stark's chain necklace in Game of Thrones. Have you watched Game of Thrones?
No, I haven't watched any of the...
God damn
I've
it.
also been kind of weird. I love TV.
Okay.
And I haven't been watching anything. Nothing. Like, all I watch is reruns of Cheers and Frasier. Really? I don't know why that.
Well, that classic TV.
Well, and then Frasier is a spin-off of Cheers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Frasier was a character on Cheers before he got his own show.
Oh, wow.
I've also been watching King of Queens.
Really?
I have this weird, like, I go to sleep by turning my brain off, you know.
Do you sleep with the TV on?
It starts on and it's on a timer. I have to like dull my brain to sleep since alcohol's no longer an option. So I turn on what a friend of mine calls smooth brain television.
Okay, which
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay,
King of Queens. It has to be
Young
something
Sheldon.
inane. That's too modern. That's too contemporary. It has to be something like. But then the problem with these shows is it's funny that Cheers is from the 80s, but shows from the 90s and the early 2000s have aged worse than shows in the 80s, probably because of the proximity to other things that were happening at that time, the fall of the Berlin Wall et al.
What about MASH?
MASH was terrible.
Alan Alda.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about Cheers here. And I'm really making an excuse for it because of Bebe Neuwirth. I just like her too much.
Oh, yeah. What about Kirstie Alley?
You know what? I'm capable of, separating the Kirstie Alley from
the Kirstie Alley,
from the Rebecca Howe.
Absolutely, as one should. I mean,
she had yet to reveal she was a horrible person.
That's true.
Do you feel like once a person reveals they're horrible, you can't like anything past that point, but you can still like the things before?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean,
I've never really put thought into this.
Interesting.
I mean, I do like, it's like every time she comes on and she's cute and charming, I'm like, you had it all. You had the moon on a string. Queers loved you. Why'd you turn all mean?
I know. Why did you relate that anecdote where your parents got into a car accident and they were wearing Ku Klux Klan outfits?
Because here's the thing, is people think privilege is like getting things handed to you. No, it's like never having to worry about shit, never having to watch what you say because you know you can get your way out of it because of your privilege. Yeah. That's the real privilege, is not having to worry, getting to walk through life without a care in the fucking world while the rest of us are trying to figure out how to survive in that same world.
But God, she was good in Drop Dead Gorgeous.
But God, Drop Dead Gorgeous. Oh, I mean, see, like, I can't give up all, I'm sorry. I can't give up all Kirstie Alley joints because this is really making my skirt right. Because it would be punishing people like Ellen Barkin. Allison Janney.
I mean, that show, that movie is that that movie has a lot of jokes that
don't age well. But you know what? The beauty of the internet is you don't have to watch movies anymore. People just put the little clips that you like up.
Right. What's your favorite movie?
I'm sorry. I don't think I wore the right underwear for this.
Do you want a pashmina?
I wore this for you. And the tweed and the velour.
We're going to get to a pashmina.
No, I'm fine. I'll cross my legs. Like a whore. Like the whore that I am. Okay. Are you going to like ask me questions?
Yes. We're going to talk about your incredible achievements. Before we do that, though.
Okay, sure.
Do you know any foreign languages?
Je parle un peu de français.
Okay. If you could become fluent overnight in a foreign language, but you had to chop off a finger, would you do it?
Maybe.
Which one would you do? Which language would you choose?
I'd probably do this ring finger.
Really?
Just because I'd probably, get a cool decorative replacement, a la Margot Tannenbaum.
Okay.
I've thought about this before.
Okay. And which language would you learn? Or which language would you acquire instantly?
Japanese.
Really? Any other fingers?
Oh, like per finger I get a language?
Yeah.
Japanese, I said because it's so far away from French.
Yeah.
Like French, I can fake my way through other Latin root languages.
Okay.
But
that's okay. That's good enough.
Yeah, I think just the one. Okay. I think I can branch out enough on my own from French. What about you?
I think I'd take the whole left hand.
Whole left hand for 5 languages, and what would they be?
We do Mandarin.
Uh-huh.
Mandarin, Spanish.
Uh-huh.
Arabic, Hindi,
uh-huh.
and then maybe Pashto or Urdu.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just gets some gold fingers.
You've thought about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, because you could do a lot with one hand.
You know what I just thought, though? Maybe I'd give up another one for ASL. But I desperately want.
But you can't.
Oh, my God. Shut up. There's gotta be a way to still do that.
That is so funny. That is the funniest thing.
Stop it. There is a deaf person missing fingers.
Of course there is.
Like, why is Katya laughing?
Yeah, no, it's like they can't. It's like you wouldn't be able, wouldn't be able to trill your R's, but you could still speak Spanish.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. You know, I think there's ways around it.
Yes, absolutely, there is. I would.
Like, you're gonna get a gold hand, for God's sake.
Right. I don't know if the fingers would move.
How customized is this hand gonna be? Is there gonna be compartments?
I don't know.
Gonna be
I
like,
think
you take a finger off and it's a ballpoint pen.
Or like Swiss Army fingers.
Yeah, there you go.
This episode is brought to you by Ritual. Hi there. My name is Katya, and I, like all human beings, poop. From Chapel Roan to my Uncle Jack to the hot barista at your local coffee shop who would definitely fall in love with you if they would only give you a chance, they all have pooping in common. Now let's be honest, folks. Don't you feel a whole lot better if you poop on a regular basis? With Symbiotic Plus from Ritual, you can finally throw away the stress of finding a bathroom at the Hollywood Bowl when that lunch taco finally hits, and find the inner peace you've always been searching for by pooping predictably. What is Symbiotic Plus? Well, let me tell you about this little object of pure magic that will make your BMs fantastic. It's a 3-in-1 clinically studied pre, pro, and postbiotic containing strains LGG and BB12 that supports healthy regularity. Plus, you can finally live your life without the constant worry of farting on a blind date, bloating so much that you can't wear your sexy jeans, and emergency diarrhea at the office that ends up disrupting your very important business meeting about spreadsheets and revenue streams. I used to stay at home on Saturday nights to dust and organize my massive collection of nautical tchotchkes. Now, I take Ritual Symbiotic Plus daily, and while I still occasionally stay in to make sure the ceramic lighthouses are sorted accurately by height, now I don't have to hide in my house with a bloated tummy and disgusting gas. Instead, I don my pinstripe zoot suit and hit up all the trendy mobster and lobster theme parties with the glitterati of Los Angeles. Even with a belly full of succulent lobster, I'm good to go, and all thanks to Ritual Symbiotic Plus. This daily 3-in-1 prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic features 2 of the world's most clinically studied probiotic strains to support gut and digestive health. It's designed with a delayed release capsule to help reach the colon, not the stomach, an ideal place for probiotics to survive and grow. All it takes is 1 daily mint-scented capsule for simple, streamlined gut support. Plus, it's vegan-friendly and formulated without GMOs, major allergens, animal products, shady fillers, and artificial colors. Be like me and poop on the regular before leaving the house to conquer the world gas-free. Climb back on that porcelain throne and make me proud, people. Feel the difference daily with Ritual Symbiotic Plus. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/bald. That's 25% off at ritual.com/bald. Happy squatting. This episode is brought to you by Chime. The year is 2024. No one punches a clock anymore. Faxes are a thing of the past. Phone calls have been replaced by video calls. Emails have been replaced by text. The point is, we've marched forward from those bygone days, so why still depend upon the medieval concept of a pay cycle? When you're in control of your money, you can reach your financial goals easier and still have the occasional treat. With a Chime checking account, you get access to products like MyPay, which lets you get up to $500 of your pay between paydays with no credit check, no interest, and no mandatory fees. At chime.com/bald, you can learn more about MyPay, and you can finally be freed from the prison of pay cycles. There was one time in Boston when a few paychecks were late and I desperately needed a new dress for my holiday-themed show. My only red dress tore during some splits, so I needed a little bit of money to get a new one. Otherwise, I would have been the laughingstock of the 2013 Danvers Holiday Extravaganza. Joke's on me, I still was. I won't tell you what I did for that $500 for the dress, but I sure wish I had MyPay as an option back then. But Chime isn't just about choosing your own payday. You can join millions of Chime members who are working on financial progress. Get covered on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals with SpotMe, and no monthly maintenance fees. Plus, Chime doesn't charge overdraft fees or interest for using SpotMe. And the best part? Chime has over 50,000 fee-free ATMs. Take more control of your finances and stop waiting for payday. Open your account in minutes at chime.com/bald. That's chime.com/bald. Chime. Feels like progress. Banking services provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Deposits are FDIC insured through the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Up to applicable limits. MyPay line of credit provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. MyPay eligibility requirements apply. MyPay credit limits range $20 to $500. $2 fee to get funds instantly. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs. All right, we're going to talk about Doctor Who.
Oh, nice segue. Because of the sci-fi elements and what we were talking about. No, I'm teasing you. I'm having a great time. Doctor Who is a dream job. Did you see?
Yeah, I saw you're like the music person.
Yeah. The thing about wearing faux fur to things is
she's wearing faux fur in 95-degree heat.
Well, not in here.
No. But it's punishingly hot outside.
Yes, it is. Doctor Who was like just one of the best experiences. And I'll tell you because you're going to get it. Okay. And I've explained this to non-drag queens, but you're going to get it. You and I have acted in things, there's a tendency for drag queens to be treated like they can't handle real acting work, right?
Sure.
Like as if what we do makes us a subsect of the entertainment community, incapable of performing at the same level of other people who just do the same exact thing we do, just not in drag.
Right.
Anyway, so none of that on the Doctor Who set. I was treated like an actor. I was treated like I was brought in because I'm here to play this role. There was no question. It was just respect and affirmation from the first Zoom call. And it was really, really special to receive that because I'm so used to having to fight a little bit and advocate or play the game and smile as I'm subtly shifting things,
Yeah. What was the audition process like?
I didn't audition for it.
Amazing.
You
were plucked.
I guess the audition process was just, Russell T. Davis coming to multiple shows that I had created over like multiple years.
Okay.
And so he had seen one specific show where he said on his walk home, the character was already being conceived, and he said it all just kind of clicked into his brain.
Wow.
And then I think, he had to do a little advocating for me because I wasn't quite a name, but thankfully All Stars and Chicago helped remedy that a little bit. But now I feel very, very gracious and grateful because I always wanted to be an actor and a drag queen, and that's exactly what I'm getting to do right now. And Doctor Who was a big swing into that direction.
Yeah.
Into that direction.
Your achievements are outrageous.
Well,
outrageous. Completely outrageous. Unparalleled.
I wouldn't say that.
I would, and I just did.
Oh, well, thank you. What I would say is I only am capable of doing the things that I'm doing right now and in such rapid succession because I have a really, really wonderful team. Like never before have I had the ability to hire enough people to delegate enough things so that it's not just me and my best friend doing everything together, right? We have someone who's helping us out with everything, and it means I get to show up focused on the work, present. I do my best to stay out of my phone while I'm working. I show up present and get to really invest in what I'm doing. And then I've been very lucky that the casts and crews around me have been so incredible, because when you're working with people who bring a great attitude, it's easy to do great work.
Sure.
So the one thing just kind of keeps building to the next, and it's because of the people around me. Like, I know what I bring to the table, but I'm only able to bring it at 100% because of the support from all of the people who make it happen, you know?
I think about that, and then I think about going back on All Stars, and then I would imagine you don't have any help.
Well, actually, you know, I will say that the All Star 7 experience was so different. You know, and if anything, you know, they kept assuring us, we're here to help you do your best. And, you know, we were like, okay, but we take that with a grain of salt, right? But then in the end, they really fucking delivered. Like, I mean, we felt supported. We had to go, you know, up against a few obstacles. And in those moments, the queens, we all, you know, we backed up each other, because if we don't, no one else is gonna, right? So there were some times where we had to kind of like band together as sisters, but ultimately, my experience with it was very positive, and everyone pretty much delivered on what they said they were gonna do. And I think that seeing a season that celebrated each other, and, you know, I haven't fully caught up on the most recent season where no one was eliminated. But when you remove that element, that feeling of scarcity, there's not enough for all of us, then we can actually celebrate each other. It's when we think that there's only one spot for us that we start to become cutthroat with each other. And I mean, Drag Race is a competition, but I'm talking about the business at large. And that's what we're all now thinking about, right? Like, you go on to Drag Race because you got a direction you want to move in from there.
You don't think it, I was watching the most recent season, and I felt like, you know, there's this business with the badges or whatever, but like, I feel like it does take some of the drama away from the competitive aspect of the show, but I don't really care that much about the drama, because it always seems kind of forced anyways. But the lack of eliminations does, I think, kind of allow for a bit of like flatness.
I hear you. I think that the way I personally feel right now, I think competition is good for art. You know, like it produces good art. But also community produces good art. And I think right now, at this point in time, there is so much division and so many people trying to pit us against each other, that anything that brings about unity within our community, that's a good thing. Now,
you can't spell community without unity.
Oh my God. But what I do think is drama, no drama, elimination, no elimination. What you said is the truth. Forced. You don't like it because it's forced. What I think right now is that we are being lied to in so many directions. Our politicians, all the people we're supposed to be able to trust, we are pulling away the wool and the veils, and we're saying, oh my God, the people we have elected and hired and trusted all this time actually only care about money, right? And none of us actually matter. So when you feel that way, You go to entertainment for escapism, but also for honesty, for truth. You know, like we can't even trust mainstream media right now because it all has a bias. And of course, there's a clear right and wrong here right now. We're at a point in time where it's not about this versus that. It's about this side is evil and this side is not trying to do the evil things that this side is trying to do, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I think that we turn to our artists for the truth. And the artists right now, we have to tell the truth. We have to be honest because we can't trust anyone else. We have to speak for our communities and tell the truth. And that's just what I'm trying to do right now. And even though I'm doing scripted work, a lot of the time I'm just trying to bring my truth to it and show the world like, this is what it would be like if someone like me were in this position. Think about it. Just think about it, you know?
Trixie was telling me about Little Shop of Horrors, and she was absolutely blown away.
Well, it was a really, really, I've been saying, the way I can encapsulate it all is every trans woman should be so lucky as to play Audrey opposite someone like Corbin Bleu or Corbin Bleu himself in such a supportive and loving and wonderful and amazing production as that current production of Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway at the West Side Theater on 43rd.
What was your favorite show? Was there one particular night that sticks out as being like amazing? Or
Oh, yeah. There was a night. Okay, everyone in the cast. If you look at who was in the cast and on the crew while I was running, incredible. I don't want to highlight one person and make it sound like anyone there was not as incredible as this person, because it truly took everyone bringing a wonderful attitude every day to make that experience as profound as it was. Corbin Bleu and I, just from day one, were locked in with each other, and we developed a ritual to make sure we were connected with each other at the beginning of every performance. And there was a night, every night, you know, he's very strong, and he would dip me, and I would kind of put my weight on his knee, and one leg would go up, and it was all this big, you know, like one thing would happen at a time, and it would build and build and build, and while we're kissing, and the audience would go nuts. This one night, I put my leg up, and as I'm doing it, this leg kind of lifts up, and I'm like, he's got me entirely. So then we do all of our bits, and at the very end, I go with the second leg, and then you realize he's holding me entirely, and I just looked like I was floating in his arms. It was this moment of theater magic, of just being present with each other, trusting each other, not having anything else going on in our minds but telling this story. And it was just really magical, and it kind of encapsulated how well we worked together. And I don't know if that was the most magical performance. I know there were some nights where I came off and I'm like, that was just a fucking bullseye. But I remember that night, it was like, this is what you can do when you trust someone, when you both have removed your egos and you said, let's just tell this story together as best we can.
Yeah. Do you have moments like not in that show, but just in general, where like you feel, 10 minutes before curtain, you're like, well, I would rather do anything than perform tonight?
No. I've never felt that way.
Really?
I have never not wanted to perform.
That's incredible.
It's what I've always wanted to do. It, like, before I knew anything else about myself. Everything I've done in my life, every single thing has been to lead to me getting to do these things that I'm getting to do right now.
Shit.
And that means there's been a lot of sacrifice, and that means that there's been, a lot of tumultuous moments. And, I had a very clear-cut path my whole life, and living that way does take its toll, because you start to reach a point where you're like, what have I missed out on, and what have I not experienced? Because I have had such a tunnel vision focus, right? That's where I kind of, I refer to it as veering from my path the alcoholism, which, it enabled my selfishness, it enabled my arrogance, but it also enabled my like bitterness and my resentment towards not being where I wanted to be. But then I had to realize that I was the obstacle, like I knew where I wanted to go, but I was standing in my way because I wasn't letting go of the things that were no longer serving me. And when Dale and I created the holiday show, it tapped me back into what I love about drag and why I chose drag as my medium to work within, because it's for and by queer people. And it's it's something special about our community. And it allowed me this way to reconnect with my audience at a very pivotal point in the year for all of us, And I remembered that the reason why I was doing all of this was to perform, not to be as famous as I could be, but to perform and perform well and effectively. And, I had to realize that alcohol was preventing me from doing that all the time.
The Bald and the Beautiful is supported by FX's English teacher. From Paul Sims, the executive producer that brought you What We Do in the Shadows, FX's English teacher follows Evan, a teacher in Austin, Texas, who learns if it's really possible to be your full self at your job while often finding himself at the intersection of the personal, professional, and political aspects of working at a high school. I cannot wait to see this amazing new show with the preternaturally hysterical Brian Jordan Alvarez. It's from the producer of one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And can I let you in on a little secret? A certain Miss Trixie Mattel makes a guest appearance on the show, and whoa, Nelly, is it a sight to behold. Take it from me, a connoisseur of quality television programming, you do not want to miss this show. FX's English teacher is now streaming on Hulu. All new Mondays on FX. This episode is sponsored by Zocdoc. Even though I'm technically a member of Gen Z, I've heard that being an adult has its high points. For instance, you can eat a can of cake frosting for dinner and a wholesale 5-gallon size of ice cream for dessert. Or wear your family's 2019 Branson, Missouri family reunion t-shirt to work on Casual Friday with your entire family silkscreen on the back. You know, the one where Auntie Bertha had the wardrobe malfunction? But ladies and gentlethems, I have bad news. It's not all fun. You also have to do laundry and pay taxes and avoid going on that cross-country bank-robbing road trip with your best friend Thelma. And the worst part? Making doctor's appointments. Blech. But you know who can help make that one easy? Zocdoc. It's the healthcare app that makes adulting just a tad easier. Zocdoc is the place where you can find and book doctors who specialize in the exact field you need, whatever that may be. You can filter for doctors who take your specific insurance, who are located close to your home to save on gas, and most importantly, who are highly rated by verified patients. You can also see their real-time appointment openings, choose a time that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit. Plus, Zocdoc appointments happen insanely fast, sometimes within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments, which is great for those mornings you wake up after eating a can of cake frosting and 5 gallons of dairy. The best part, though, Zocdoc is free. You can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. With Zocdoc, you've got more options than you know. I personally love Zocdoc because I am too busy being a world-famous multi-hyphenate and abstract expressionist painter. I don't have time to flip through the yellow pages or engage in endless searches on my personal computer. Zocdoc helps me find the best doctor in my area and book them quickly and easily. If I can find a great doctor, so can you. And all because of Zocdoc. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to Zocdoc.com/bald to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/bald. Zocdoc.com/bald. Have you seen Opening Night, the movie?
No.
You should. So I think in 1980, maybe, or 77, Jenna Rollins plays this theater actress who is a huge drunk. And and there's one point they're rehearsing, or they're working on a play that they're going to debut in New Haven before it goes to New York. And for the opening night, she is so hammered. And as right before she goes on to do one of the scenes, the stagehand is like, "Wow, I've seen a lot of drunks in my life. I've never seen anybody as drunk as you able to walk." And then she does the whole play. It's crazy. It's a John Cassavetes film. It's like it's really, really interesting. But I suggest you should watch it.
I think I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's pretty wacky.
Have you ever performed in a blackout?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, there was a I remember there was a night in South America. I was there alone, and I was on stage and I hadn't slept in 3 days. And it was there was like a point where it was crazy because it was like it was a large crowd. I was doing my number, and it occurred to me as like I was down on the floor, like say I think I probably had done a split or something, and then I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get up.
Oh no!
You know, and like,
oh my God!
And because I would like, I know that like when I got up real quick, I would have like a head rush, and I was like, I could black out and just fall over. It was really scary.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah. I had one show at the peak of my alcoholism, and it was a scripted show with Major, and I walked off stage. Well, no, what it was is like I went on stage and the show was going great, and I don't know when I mentally checked out, but I did at some point. Yeah. And I came back to my dressing room and the show was over, and I was like, what? The show's over? And I had this moment, but no one noticed because it was something I had scripted. Right. My brain went into autopilot. Right. But how
that's
freaking scary.
That's
exactly.
Scary.
And so for me, when I realized your whole life, you knew what you wanted to do. And even in my darkest moments, it was still the thing that I loved the most. But my darkness and my bitterness and my resentment, which was enabling the alcohol, which was enabling the bitterness, it was it had finally got all the way to my favorite thing, right? Like it had worked its way all the way up me until it was affecting even the thing that mattered so much to me since a young age. And that was when I had to make the decision for myself, you know? And so many times before, it was like other people telling me, you really should consider quitting drinking. And an alcoholic does not like to be told that.
No.
But
don't you think it's strange though? I think that this is something that persists even now, is that this this kind of mythology of the artist as a drunk or an addict, that there's some kind of that the drinking or the using of drugs is somehow part and parcel of the creative process.
It's just a romanticization of something that artists deal with. I mean, a lot of artists deal with substance abuse. Sure. And younger people, they're not drinking the way we drank, you know. They're not partying the same way we partied, but that doesn't mean that young people going through hard times aren't going to reach for crutches. So for me, my crutch was alcohol. It helped me get through some hard times. But then when the hard times passed, I kept using it because I thought it was like, I was like, oh, look, I can do my job and I can have a little fun. And that just, you know, that snowballs until soon you're convinced you can't do it without it. And that's when the crutches become like, I don't know, what's beyond a crutch? A part of you.
Yeah.
A limb that's getting in the way of the other limbs.
Right. Yeah. And it's great, but it's crazy though, because if you really think about it and you experience it, you're like, it's absolutely the opposite. You're just inhibiting your creative process. You're inhibiting your ability to perform. You're inhibiting and preventing yourself from actually achieving what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Sad.
It is sad. But, you know, here's how I dealt with a lot of guilt and shame once I stopped drinking, because then it's like, then you have to reconcile the years that you spent using that crutch or that limb or however you classify it. And you have to find times and ways to give yourself grace. You have to put everything into context, and you have to not remove yourself as a character from the story, because we get so people who want to be better people. You remember the way you hurt everyone else and you remember how they felt in the moment, but then you forget that like you were a human, you had circumstances too, and that's not to make excuses, but to give yourself grace, right? It's not to say, so I was going through a hard time, so those bad things I did didn't count. Mm. It's about saying, oh, you were going through a hard time, so you behaved poorly, and now you need to reconcile with that. Mm. And if you need to tell people, I was going through a really hard time, you can, but you still have to take the accountability. It can't be telling them the context is not to push off the responsibility.
Right. Did you happen to watch the Faye Dunaway documentary?
No, but I've been told a lot about it.
I won't bore you then. In a Lifetime movie event of your life, who would play her? And then we're gonna do the HBO one, but first the Lifetime one.
Oh, okay. So Lifetime, it would probably be. Oh my God, who would it be? If it were Lifetime, I'm trying to think. I know I'll find the perfect answer for this. I want to say like Bonnie Raitt.
I love that.
Or like
Reba,
or maybe I'm thinking of like someone from Network, so you know, like they'd already be kind of in this world, ready to jump in there.
What about Maris from Frasier? I love that name, Maris.
I do love the name Maris. Maris the heiress.
She was evil.
Do you know what's so brilliant about never seeing her? Is because she could never live up to the descriptions, right? By never showing us Maris, they could continue to just weave this tapestry of this impossible person.
The mythology of this evil bitch.
Yeah.
We never saw her?
No, you never see her once. You never even hear her. Yeah. And they do a lot of like, like they make you think you're about to see her, and then it's not her. Yeah. Just like Norm's wife, Vera.
Okay.
On Cheers. Oh my God. And they were written by the same people. What a clever technique.
So in the HBO miniseries version of Jinkx, the life story, whatever, who would be?
I think maybe Mason Alexander Park, but we're like the same age. They're a non-binary actor. They took over for Eddie Redmayne on the West End. In Cabaret, and I suspect they'll eventually, play the role on Broadway. But they've also done their Desire in the Sandman series. Oh. Yeah. And I basically, it's like, it's funny because I really want us to play siblings in something. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know. I would love a story where it's like all the characters are somewhere on the trans spectrum, because I feel like we're so used to, especially in this industry, like once you have one minority covered, that can be the only one,
Right. Yeah, you're just checking the boxes.
So I'm like, Pose is a great example of like, let's find more stories where there's not just one role for someone,
Right.
Anyway, but then I also want to say like Jean Smart or Tilda Swinton. Like, wouldn't Tilda Swinton? I don't know. It's like Tilda Swinton would play me in my life story if Julio Torres directed it, right?
Yeah, I was just watching Phantasmus the other day, and also what is it?
Problemista, yeah.
She's a wacko in that.
Yeah. I'm very enamored with.
Oh, I love
one. Julio Torres.
Yes, totally. I think of his special, my favorite. I think it's called My Favorite Shapes on HBO.
Yes.
So, and I loved Los Spookies so much.
Yes, I just love it. Even if you don't watch it, just saying Los Spooky really brightens your day.
Yeah, it was great though. And the concept was so lovely.
I love that we're leaning away from realism and back into the fantastical. Yeah. And I think that's another result of, we need escapism, but we also still need to confront what's happening. Mm-hmm. And so I think through allegory and through, substitution, like finding ways to show people like this does apply to you. Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite country?
Ooh, like that I've been to or just in general?
In general.
I'm just gonna say Italy or the Mediterranean at all. Okay, so Italy's one of the only places I've ever gone to on true vacation where I wasn't.
Where'd you go?
We went to Venice and Roma, and I was with someone who really liked to do the sightseeing stuff. And I used to not like to do the sightseeing stuff because hungover. Yeah. But he didn't drink, and so I didn't drink on the trip because I wanted us to be on the same wavelength, and we had a great time seeing these places that were so old. I'm like, oh, this is like from so long ago, and then to remember to sit there and contemplate that those people that we only know about through stories and history books and movies, like they actually existed and they were here. Yeah. That kind of, it had a dizzying effect.
It's crazy. And then there you are in 2000, whatever, almost getting hit by a moped. It's wild.
At the time, I had my hat, right? My wide brimmed black hat that I was obsessed with. And then I had dyed my hair black in some weird act of defiance that no one cared about. And I, of course, am very pale. We're walking around Italy. Everywhere we went, people were screaming, Michael Jackson! Michael Jackson! And Michael Jackson was dead. And I don't know why they were screaming that at me. But, I guess I looked like him.
Well, you know what? I think the Italians are
Michael Jackson!
When I was in Italy with my Asian friend, people were like, Brad Pitt. So, I think the Italians are fucking crazy. I think some wires are crossing in the Italian brain when it comes to recognizing celebrities in real life.
Huge cocks, though.
Every one of them. Even the women, enormous dongs, big, pendulous, heavy, uncut dongs.
We shouldn't
swinging
generalize
around.
And we shouldn't stereotype, even positive stereotypes. But I'm saying if there were a ratio you were considering.
Yes. We don't like to deal with stereotypes. We don't like to deal with prejudice. We don't like to deal with assumptions. But just for the record, both Jinkx and I know for a fact that every single Italian person, man, woman, or otherwise, has a huge cock.
No, do you know what it is? Is the first person who was of Italian origin that I slept with had such a gigantic penis that I was,
so gigantic is an adjective that's
listen, Mama, I know a big dick, right? That's not an exaggeration, just not as thick or ribbed,
just without the baby's breath,
without the baby's breath and the grooves, the ridges. But no, and then I was like, such a big dick, sir, and he was like. It's because I'm Italian, and because that was said to me early in life, it became fact in my brain. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm no dick whisperer. I just know how to have a good time.
Is that? I hope this is not too personal.
Oh, what?
Is that an important factor in this?
No. I'm okay. I'm a slut. Yes.
Okay.
However, I'm not goal-oriented.
You're not what?
I'm not goal-oriented.
Okay.
As in getting dick down and everyone shooting huge loads. That's not I'm not concerned about that. Because I can have a good time mutual masturbation can be great. You know, it's all about, for me, what's fun about sex is not the act that you do, but the connection you have with the person. Yeah. And of course, there's things that I like, but there's things that I like when we're having anal intercourse. There's things that I like if it's oral. There's things that I like if it's mutual masturbation. I can just make out for hours too, if that's what the person wants to do. Sure. I just like to be direct and upfront about what we both want out of this experience. Because once we set the boundaries and what we're expecting and or what we're not expecting or what we're not up for that night, then you know the confines within which to play.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm a Virgo. I like knowing the rules.
So what would you say to the
Do you like astrology? I can't forget. You hate it.
No,
Trixie hates it, I know, right? Trixie hates it. They both hate it, yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. The only thing that I don't hate it, what I've observed is,
my God,
is your huge cock.
I'm Italian. No, I'm not.
No, what I've observed what I've noticed many times in many places, many people they talk about astrology in a way that it is so bullshit. It almost spins my head around. So that's fun to observe.
Right.
But I'm really into the Chinese zodiac.
Right.
So what is your Chinese zodiac?
What's my Chinese zodiac?
Yeah.
Well,
Can you look it up?
Oh, I'm Year of the Rabbit.
And which kind of rabbit? We're gonna look it up.
Oh, yeah. I don't know the Chinese zodiac as extensively, but you're a pragmatic person. I'm a pragmatic person who also balances my spirituality in it, right? I had to, for myself, figure out something that gave some kind of logical sense that I could keep putting energy into astrology. And my thought is cyclical energy.
Okay.
Right? We see patterns in history. We see ebb and flow. We see that there's progress and then there's pushback. We see music be cyclical and fashion be cyclical. And I think the atoms that we are made of, it's all being recycled. So when you're born at one time of year, you're maybe being made from similar atoms. Or if you just want to think about environmental causes, I was born in September. I'm very studious. That's the start of the school year for me. December, Capricorns are known to be kind of self-concerned. Their birthday is probably right next to Christmas, where they got pushed off because it was Christmas or felt like they didn't get their moment. I don't know. I think there are factors where, depending on when you were born, whether it's your stars that you were born under or the factors you were born into, there's something to that. And if we can label it with astrology, but what we're really talking about is this cyclical energy, then maybe there's something to it.
Sure. At the very least, it's a fun icebreaker.
Right?
Yeah.
What ghosts, kind of rabbit? Do you believe in them?
Hell yeah.
See, so you can believe in ghosts, but you can't believe in astrology.
Well, I can see ghosts.
Don't you think? Well... You can't see astrology. The stars are right there. It's just thousands of years of Aboriginal culture versus Katya's opinion, but whatever.
I love it. I love the occult. Love that shit.
Me too.
Love that shit.
Even as just a fascination. Yeah. I don't believe every aspect of spiritual stuff. Not all of it applies to me, but that doesn't mean that I don't love that other people believe in it. Yeah. Here's the fucking thing. It's just like religion. We're all trying to explain the same things. We just find different ways to explain it.
Absolutely.
Some people use science. Some people use faith or spirituality. It's just we're all saying the same things, just in different languages.
Absolutely. I'm more interested in the conviction or the quality of belief or whatever, the how someone's speaking about astrology than the what.
Well, that's me too. It's it's all about how someone approaches me. And the witches that I like the most as a practicing witch are the witches that don't take it too seriously. Yeah. Just like the entertainers who don't take themselves too seriously. That's just who I like. Yeah. That's who I prefer.
Yeah. My friend, I have a good friend who's, she worked as a witch reading tarot cards in Salem for like, I don't know, a decade or more. And any kind of astrology question, I'll go to her. And because she just knows it all. She has all the knowledge banked, and so that she can interpret just from like having all of the knowledge. Because when I moved to LA, it was like, oh my God, like they're speaking they're speaking as if they have the knowledge, but they really, if they had to take a test, they had to sit down and take a test to be like, describe all the signs. What are the, they couldn't do it.
This is why I think any practice of faith or spirituality, you can go to people for guidance, but your path should be your own, right? Mm-hmm. This is my problem with organized religion is that, excuse me, it's often something inflicted upon a person. Right. Like you get born into a faith often, and then you just start accepting things because that's the way it was taught to you. Mm-hmm. I think about this analogy that a history teacher told once about this new wife, and she wanted to learn how to bake a delicious ham for her husband. And she wanted to do it the way his mother did, you see. So she called up his mother and got the recipe from her. And the recipe included cutting off 2 inches on either side of the ham. So she does it because that's what the recipe says. And she bakes the ham and her husband loves it. But she doesn't understand in her mind why she cut off the 2 inches. She just did it because she was told. So she calls her mother-in-law and says, he loved the ham. Thank you for the recipe. Can I ask one question? Why do you cut off? Is that to release the juices? Is that to cut off the bad part? Blah, 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 blah. The mother-in-law says, oh, I used to cut off 2 inches. I have that in the recipe to remind myself that my pan's too small for a standard ham. I was just cutting off 2 inches because that's the way I needed to do it at that time, right? So just because you're taught something or just because you believe in something, you should never, ever, ever forfeit your ability to think for yourself and ask those questions. Yeah. Why do we cut off the 2 inches, right? Like, we need to be asking ourselves why. And I think the people who can blindly follow someone as despicable as you know who, it's just a way of absolving yourself from having to answer those hard questions.
You're talking about Dr. Jill Biden? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you?
Listen, if you're following anyone blindly, you're wasting your life is all. That's how I feel. Because absolutely. Your life is meant for you to ask yourself those hard questions and find out where you lie on them.
You didn't grow up Catholic, did you?
I grew up raised very, very loosely Catholic. I was taught...
Wait. Very loosely?
Yeah, my mom taught me the gist.
Oh, okay. You didn't go to church?
I was baptized. Okay. I went to some Sunday school young in life. But my grandmother and my mother both had reasons that every time they went to church, they felt very, very guilty, and they'd just sit there in the pews crying. And so they would avoid going to church, and then they'd feel bad about not going to church. So then the next time they would go to church, they'd end up crying because they felt so bad that it's been so long since the last time they went to church. So I basically was taught the rules and taught that church makes you feel sad. And my whole life, I don't know, my whole life, and even still, is just kind of picking away at those things like, oh, I was taught this because of this, but that doesn't serve me now, here, or anymore, so goodbye to that, you know?
Damn. I mean, Catholics. Although the only thing I can say that they've done is preserve art pretty well.
There's some great art thanks to the Catholics. Yeah. But, here's the thing is...
At what cost?
Catholics and the original Christians were just They were just reappropriating the pagan faiths at the time, So that's why there's so many similarities in the Christian faith to original pagan origins. And they did that very mindfully. They did that to gain followers. They did that by adhering to what was popular at the time or what people were worried about at the time. People are murdering each other. People are raping each other. We need order. And so they used the things that they already related to, the stories and the fables, but they changed the characters and they changed the lessons. And good things happened because of this turning away from kind of like primal, visceral instincts, survival of who is ever strongest. So there are good things that happen from it, but because of those good things, like a crutch, this is why I don't like organized religion, is once you have those people following you, who can you trust in that position, in that number one position? Once you put one person in charge, how can you trust that that person is acting accordingly to the wills of everyone and not just imposing their will on everyone who will listen?
You gotta watch Game of Thrones.
Oh my God.
You have to.
Oh my God.
If you don't watch it, I'm going to kill myself.
Why do I have to watch it? I already know this shit. I don't need to watch dragons.
No. It's so cunty.
I know.
You gotta get into it. Switch off the Cheers. Put on the Game of Thrones.
What if I said this to you? Would anyone be like, Jinkx has a point. We should be watching more reruns of 80s television. No. So I'm not going to try to fight you on this right now.
I don't want to fight. I just need you to do this or else I'm going to commit suicide.
Listen, I do like that the newer... this is bugging me. It's my weed vapes. But I do like that the newer additions to the franchise are much more female-led and and much more feminist than previous iterations.
Don't get it twisted. There is. We have to wrap up soon, but let me just talk at you for one more minute.
Please.
There are so many complex, incredible, beautiful, twisted, amazing female characters in this show, and it is so cunty.
I know, and the people I love watch it and tell me I'll like it, and
you will, and you must.
I've just been having more fun with real life lately.
That's unacceptable. How dare you? Last question.
I watch TV in such short chunks. That's another reason why. TV used to be 20-minute episodes you can fit into your day.
I know. Now it's just like these big
binges. You need to do 12 hours.
Which is what I've been doing. Because I'm depressed. Okay, we got to wrap.
I love you so much. I love you.
We're going to wrap up with the last question. If you could control the way that you die and it can't be peacefully in your sleep, what would it be?
I've already thought of this and I have the perfect. Okay. I do really want to live to a very old age. Okay. And part of the lifestyle changes I've made has been because I was like, well, if you want to do that, eventually going to have to start doing something to see to it, right? Yeah. So I want to live to a very old age. I want to perform to the very end, like Marilyn May. Marilyn May, if you don't know her, look her up. 96 years old, still performing, still incredible. Holds the record of being on the Johnny Carson show more than any other performer. She's incredible. She's still performing. And I want to perform to the very end like Elaine Stritch. And my ideal death would be I do whatever show I'm in at the time, and I walk off stage and I have one of those nights where I go, that was a bullseye. You really did it. That was perfect. Everything. I mean, I don't try to use the word perfect, but I like to say bullseye. That was a bullseye. You hit the mark. Mm-hmm. It was effective. You did good, pig. That'll do, and then I want to sit down in my dressing room, look at myself in the mirror, and just a sigh of contented, like you did a good job, kid, and then die.
Would you fall backward into a glass coffee table?
No, I'd be seated in my makeup chair, and it would be like this.
or like this, like for the father from Strangers of Candy.
Oh yeah, should I like? Or I want to do something like this. It's my favorite moment ever from 30 Rock. She's on a first date with someone and they end up in his mother's hospital room as she's dying. And she goes, "You have to tell him I'm not really his mother. I'm his grandmother. The woman he thinks is his sister is his mother. You have to tell him or I won't get into heaven." And then she dies. I kind of want to do that to someone, but more so what I really, really want is to deliver one final really great show, sit down in my chair and just... There I go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. That's like we're out of time.
You
look beautiful.
I always have it's so easy to talk to, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know that one episode of Queens Who Watch and just how much fun we had.
Oh, we had a blast.
We don't get to do it enough, but every time we just get to sit and vibe, as the kids say.
Yeah, we are vibing. I love you. You're and then listen. Let the record show that. Way back when I saw you and Major Scales perform on a boat, this was so long ago. I said to somebody where I was with, it might have been Trixie or somebody else, I was like, "Well, that's the most talented drag racer ever."
Oh gosh.
And I still feel that way.
You know, I just, in my mind, I love all the queens and all the sisters and I am so grateful we're at this moment of abundance where there's more than ever to go around and everyone can find their place and thank God, right?
Yeah.
And then also when people ask me like, who do you like to work with? It's a short list of the people who are the most pro, the most like drama free, but mostly the people who bring a great attitude and make me laugh. And even when like the gig is shitty, we have a fun time because we're there together. Yeah. And so that you're part of that list of people.
Thank you so much. Well, it's I love your sheer stockings. You look very beautiful. Congratulations on all your success. And
hey, congratulations on all yours.
Thank you very much.
You're
having
really
a blast
living
watching
your
Game of
dream
Thrones
too, huh?
Yeah, my life is right now perfect. Morbidly depressed, watching TV 14 hours a day.
Okay. But you like that.
I do. It was always been my dream.
To have the space to be able to do that. To be able to support yourself through those spells. Isn't that beautiful,
It's
Katya?
gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Isn't it? You have a security that you can lean into your depression when you need to and know that on the other side of it, you will be okay.
Yes. That I will fall through a plate glass window in the middle.
And we got you, girl. And we got you.
Where can the children find you?
You know, Google it. It's spelled JINKX.
All right.
Google it. I mean, I'm on all the things.
You're on TikTok?
I am on TikTok. I don't engage with TikTok that much. Here's the thing. A big part of how I'm able to live my life well right now was disconnecting and putting up a buffer between me and social media because it just gets in here.
Sure.
And it throws me off my course. So, like I said at the very top of this, I have a wonderful team of people so that I can do my job and stay the best me that I can be so that I'm bringing my best self to all my work.
Well, we'll include your home address so people can send you some letters.
Sure. I will. Jinkx Monsoon ad everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I think TikTok, I'm like Jinkx Monsoon official. But again, Google it.
Google it. All right. Thank you, girl. Bye, everybody. Awesome.